new fur growing back in there. Good morning. Welcome back to Sage and Stone Homestead. My name is Heather. The girls are doing really great on 1 bag every other day of alfalfa pellets. They have been going out and eating. I think the cooler temperatures have been helping. We're actually going to get some super cool temperatures this weekend of a high in like the mid 70s, which that was our low not that long ago. It blows my mind. You can hear a little bit of coughing. I've got Fable kind of coughing over here. Christine was coughing real bad the other day. She got antibiotics. Sometimes it's a thing with up and down fluctuating temperatures and just the humid air. They're not really moving very much. I think Fable is probably fine. Christine, she's fine over here. I'd like to see if they'll come out and look at the pond with me. I haven't been out and done a pond walk with the goats in a long time, and I think I can see a big white flower down by the pond, and it could be marshmallow. I just want to verify. So let's go. You coming with me? I hope so. It's always fun when you guys join. The grass is super long still. We've gotten quite a lot of rain. We're getting more this weekend. We've got at least Tori. She's usually good for it. I think Tizzy's thinking about it. Come on, girls. Come here. So here is the pond pasture. It's quite big. I can't remember. I think all in all, we have about 6 acres that the girl goats can roam. Right now, what's out here is a lot of this weird scrubby shrub. I don't know what that is. Goaty goat! Come here, goat! Come on! This is Lupa. She's like, I'll come. This starts to get marshy and mucky back here as we get closer to the pond, and the grass actually gets a lot taller. I will definitely have to do a tick check later. Sometimes when the grass gets too tall, they don't want to come out here. I imagine, especially some of the shorter ones, it's just, they're a prey animal and they get nervous that they can't see everything. So I generally might have to have Levi come out here and mow a lot of this just so that they'll come out here. He's already mowed the far side of the pond, but they're not really going to go to the far side of the pond if they can't get through this side to get over there. This is intense. It's like 5 feet tall. Oh, Tori changed her mind. Back she goes. I don't really blame her. This is tall. But because the goats haven't been out here, there's actually a lot more growing out here than I normally see. I don't know what this is, but I think I do see marshmallow. Look at how beautiful that is. I believe marshmallow is in the hibiscus family, and it grows in marshy areas. Gorgeous. There's quite a few plants right here. So pretty. Okay, over here's our pond, and usually in the summertime it does like recede back a little bit. This is actually the shallow end, and it looks like we haven't started to recede at all. This is usually like all pasture in summertime, but we've had such a weird rainy summer. The spring was very dry and the summer has been very wet. I haven't had to water the perennial garden in I don't know how long, a really long time, because we've gotten plenty of rain and it's kept our pond nice and full. Sometimes we'll see mushrooms out here too, so we'll keep our eyes out. I think that's poison ivy. Keep our eyes out for that too. When Levi does mow out here with the brush hog, I think the cutting depth is like 6 or 8 inches. So it's still plenty tall enough for the goats to graze on and have a lower parasite load. But I think there is a too long. I also don't have as many goats as I used to have. I've had upwards of 30 goats in this area before, and that is supportable by this much pasture. But fewer goats can survive on less, that's for sure, and they don't prefer to really go too far from the barn. The duckweed sure is happy this year. I think that's more marshmallow. I'm actually very tempted to stop feeding the alfalfa altogether in the heat of summer. We opened all of this up to the goats so that they could help maintain it for us, and they're really not. probably poisonous. It's pretty. Right here, this is where Levi mowed. Yeah, I think he mowed all the way around. There's honeysuckle. It's definitely towards the end of season for that. Dang, that almost smells like lime. A little bit more floral. Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, and more marshmallow, look. So pretty. I've gotta open my herbalism book and double check all the things I can do with it. I believe marshmallows themselves are made from the roots, but I think there's other things you can do with different parts of the plant. Is that jewelweed? I think jewelweed is usually orange. I don't know. Our pond walks are not the same without the goats. Don't you agree? There's a look at everything we normally hang out at. It's pretty small in comparison to all the field that we have, and we want this to be utilized. So I don't know. I guess we'll experiment a little bit. Or we are definitely going to have to mow first before they're going to come out here, I think. The boys have been doing fine out here. They do get grain every day. There's 12 boys out here. They're not all full size, but some of them are. And they haven't gotten any hay or any alfalfa since March. And I think I didn't even feed hay through March at all. And they've maintained really well. They've grown really, really well. They share 3 of those feed scoops full of grain every day. And they're doing awesome. So very little has had to be done as far as parasites out here as well. So yeah, we're figuring this thing out, trying to kind of figure out what's optimal, and it's probably going to change season to season. I'm sure we'll need to do different things over winter than we do in summer, obviously, because the forage is different. Oh, hey, you lazy bums. It's not the same without you. It's not Tori, you abandoned me. Oh, it's not the same without you down there with me, munching on all the things. How you doing, Fable Marie? She's growing so big. The kids told me Fable had a little bit of loose stool the other day, but I haven't done anything about it. It looks like she's pretty much dried up on the back. I can't see any evidence that she has loose stool. I don't necessarily think that it's parasites. Could easily be the extra fresh forage that they're getting out there that can cause some loose stool. I do have a microscope and fecal slides and things to do a fecal if we need to. So we'll keep an eye, won't we? Yes, we will. Our water, it's got a little bit of a leak. There's a float valve in here. Kind of like how a toilet works, and as I come through and clean here, it misaligns it just enough to cause leaks. My camera won't frenzy. Well, that's worse. There we go. There we go, no more leaking. I just grabbed what I think are probably some of the last elderberries of the season, and I'm going to make those into more wine. I haven't gotten to taste the wine that I set up at the beginning of the month. It has to sit for at least 30 days. But as far as I can tell, it's working okay. These here are our Sunbelt grapes. And I've noticed over the last few days that they're starting to get super dark purple. And that means that they're ready. The reason that I'm picking them off one by one instead of grabbing whole clusters is I don't have whole clusters that are all ripe. They're not necessarily ripening evenly, but look at that. Look at them. There are a bunch. And so a grape like this, really dark purple, is ripe, while something like that where it's a little bit more red, it's not, and it's actually pretty sour. I probably actually could leave these out here for longer and let more of the clusters ripen. We'll see. I'm at least gonna grab some for fresh eating today. They're so darn good, and the wasps like them too. So I have to be careful and make sure that I'm not getting any of those on my hands. These grapes are a Concord variety, and they taste exactly like Welch's grape juice. They're so dang good. The idea is that I'll make jellies with them this year, and I'm actually wondering if I will even need to add sugar, because I might not, which is kind of crazy. They're just, I can feel the sugar on them. They're so sticky. Last year was the first year that we got grapes off of this grape trellis. There's 2 separate grapes planted here, and I think that maybe this was as much harvest that we got at all last year. And at the moment I haven't really moved from about this like 5-foot section, and I have not nearly even scratched the surface at the amount of harvest in just this area. Now, like I mentioned, they're not all ready, but look at that. We've got 8 cups of grapes right now. This is going to be perfect for a little side dish for the kids and I for lunchtime. Warm grapes. I know it sounds weird because we're used to buying grapes at the store when they are, you know, in the refrigerated section. These warm, fresh grapes are so darn good and very easy. The pests that we've had to deal with the most are the Japanese beetles, but I put those Japanese beetles traps actually in the garden. A lot of people tell you to put your Japanese beetle traps away from the garden, but I find like this is where the beetles are. And so if I can take them off of my plants and into those traps, they're being attracted to the traps and they can't get out of those. And so it hasn't caused a problem here. I haven't necessarily had an excess amount of beetle pressure on my plants at all since putting those traps in. Actually, I haven't seen the actual beetles on the physical plants at all. I have 6 of those traps around the homestead right now, and I think there's 4 of them in actual garden spaces. Here's the harvest for now. So great. I wish you guys could taste these. Are you boys having fun running alongside them? That is fun, isn't it? Are they teasing you? What is this? Are you guys having the best time on the shooting berm? This is the only bit of terrain that they really have out here. Hey, sir. That's your daughter, Farrell. I know you don't care. And she doesn't care. Oh. I asked him not to cut the marshmallow. The goats will probably eat it. That's all right. This pasture really is for them. I could probably block it off, but I'm not super worried about it. There they go eating it. I still haven't treated for scours over here. It looks like whatever was happening has cleared up. Sometimes it's worth waiting if you feel like you can. Waiting to treat, that is. It's not always necessary. You got it, Stella. See, being prey animals, they would much rather be able to see all the way around them than be surrounded by super tall grass. They like the tall grass, obviously. They're beelining right for that, but they don't want to have to go through acres of it to come out here to the pond and get the browse. Can't really say that I blame them. So it is quite possible that it wasn't the free choice alfalfa in the barn that was the problem. Like I said, I literally just put the alfalfa out while Levi was mowing, but easily could have been that that was easier and safer to consume than what was out here. Did you find a rose? Yum. Nope. There they go. Tori, are you gonna hang out with me? Probably not. They don't want to come on this side today. That's too scary. It's been too long since they were over on that side, I think. Actually, some of them have probably never been even this far. I know Stella was having a hard time conceptualizing going too far from the barn just last week. So we won't push it, huh, Tor? Yum, huh? When I've watched them from you know, the house side of the homestead. That's what they do. They make like 10-15 minute trips out to the pond and then they run back. And then they'll be in there for a little while and they'll come back out, and 10-15 minutes later they'll run back. Looks like they are still interested in staying out here. Just trying to make sure that it's safe. We're getting drizzled on. Uh-oh. It's totally fine for goats to touch and even eat poison ivy. Actually, every time I get poison ivy, it is like secondhand from touching the goats. And so I probably need to get into the habit of making sure I wash my arms and hands really, really well after milking or handling them at all, because they're gonna be rubbing all over it down here. They will eat it, so they'll help keep it down, but it doesn't necessarily keep it off me. Oh, Tori's drinking. How cute. I don't see them do that very much. Access to the pond also does open them up to various parasites. There are parasites that are carried along by slugs and snails that the goats can get, and we've experienced brainworm before. It sounds really scary, and honestly it kind of is. If you don't know where you're looking at, I will link the video where Elpis had the meningeal worm. Goodness, she was less than a year old, so it was 3 or 4 years ago now, so you guys can see what it looks like. And the vet said it was a classic case, so we know what to look for now. And what I'll have to do, which I don't have on hand right now, is get the panicker, the whole box of equine panicker to have on hand so we can treat as quickly as possible if we see signs again. For a long time we didn't see a lot of deer in our pond pasture, but we have very, very recently. And so that's something we have to keep an eye out for. I'm trying to push that over. Y'all are cute. I'll get a lot of questions too about why our goats have bells on them. And this big pasture is why. It's because I'm down at the barn and I want to know where they are, so I'm not walking around the whole thing looking for them. I can actually hear what side of the pasture they're on and head that way. A lot of times they'll come when I shake a bucket, but not always. Not that I think that this would really happen. It also helps hunters and things around hunting season realize that what they're looking at is probably livestock and not a deer. Not that anyone should be really shooting on our property anyway, but just in case. It was so cute. I wish I could have caught it. They were doing laps with the boys on this fence line. They can have access nose to nose with the boys in a little, like, I guess it's probably a 32 foot section, but this is a lot longer. Now it's time for a little bit of tomato preservation. I just pulled this tomato confit out of the oven. All it is cherry tomatoes with some garlic, olive oil, and rosemary roasted in the oven until they get a little bit of char and release their juices. This is amazing to bolster up any kind of pasta sauce. Normally we go through about 2 quarts of pasta sauce when I make pasta. This actually allows us to go through only 1 quart of actual pasta sauce, and it bulks it up really nicely, adds texture and flavor. I just store it in these 1 pound containers and put it in the freezer. The larger tomatoes, I've been spending a lot of time either making pasta sauce, crushed tomatoes, or pizza sauce, and that's what I'm going to be making today. I do have a large roaster oven, and that's great for large batches, but I've been making the pizza sauce in smaller batches in the crock pot, and this is really nice because it hasn't heated up my house a whole lot. These are getting cored and then put in the crock pot, skins and all, and these are going to roast here in the crock pot overnight. Hello, good afternoon. We've got the tomatoes in the crock pot, and the cores and bad ones, these are pig food. How are you guys doing? You ready to move? These are the only rabbits I have growing out on tractors right now. The other ones are up here in the elevated cages. I do need to update you guys on Tortellini, my lavender tort silver fox buck that had a little bit of hair loss a couple of weeks ago. Right now he's on the front porch, but I think we're gonna move him back out here into the rabbitry area. He's doing good though. Hi, Lufa. Did you tip your water? Yes, I did. I tipped my water. Hey, girl. Lufa pig, you ready for your food? Yep, she is. Hello, boys. Yes, we'll feed you in just a minute. So as I'm sure some of you noticed, Chloe's not in the pen with Lufa anymore. I had the opportunity to get Chloe out of Lufa's pen the other day. I didn't have my camera on me, but I did have my phone. So I did get her moved. I'll play that moving footage here. It was easier than I thought it was going to be, honestly. Look. What are you doing here? I did it.
What are you doing?
I saw the opportunity and I took it. Yay, I did it. See, it was not that bad. It's only 70 what? 6 today? So,
Something like it.
Perfect day, overcast, for her to figure out her new pen. Looks like Chloe needs us to fill her pool. Chloe! Hey girl! How are ya? Hey sweet thing! How are you doing? There you go. Whole reason I wanted to move Chloe out of the pen with Lufa wasn't because they weren't getting along. They're actually getting along really well. But Lufa is our meat pig, and she actually could stand to do a little bit more growing. Her processing day is in 2 months. It's the beginning part of October. But Chloe, the Kuni is at her full size. She doesn't need to be eating any extra. So I needed to separate her so that we could get the ideal weights on both pigs. And Chloe can help us kind of trample down the longer grass that's in this pen. It works out, doesn't it, sweet girl? Chloe's such a sweet pig. All right, boys, you ready? Oh, hi, buddy. Are you coming to help fill the wallow? Oh, he needs it now. Okay. It is the next morning, and as you can see, the tomatoes have released a lot of juices. I am going to dip most of this off. Actually, I got about a gallon of juice that I dipped off of the tomatoes. This helps basically instantly thicken the tomato sauce, and so when I blitz it with the immersion blender, everything comes together nicely and is just as thick as I want it. I'm using a Mrs. Wages pack for the pizza sauce. All of the spices and things are already included. There does include directions to put in 5 tablespoons of sugar, so that's what I've got going on right here. Throw in the pack, mix it all in, and then I'm going to steam can this for 40 minutes. I got a total of 6 pints, which is pretty good. All right, so the pizza sauce is out of the canner, and it came out really great. Here's one of them right here. And I think we're gonna be using pizza sauce a lot more this year than we have in years past. I haven't done just a ton of homemade pizzas. We do actually have pizza just about every week, but we get freezer pizza from the local grocery store on Friday. We call it Junk Food Fridays. But we're really enjoying our own mozzarella cheese, and this flatbread recipe, which we're going to make tonight, makes a really great like individual pizza. We're not actually making the pizzas tonight. I did that last week. I'm going to be putting leftovers in these flatbreads, but I wanted to show you the recipe. It is in this book that I reference often. Actually, all of the sourdough recipes that I have made come out of this book. This is in our Amazon shop, and I will link it below. Everything that I've made out of this book has been delicious, and that's not even an exaggeration. Have I made all the recipes? No, but I have made a lot of them. So right here, skillet Greek yogurt flatbreads. I'm actually going to be doubling the recipe so that we can have dessert flatbreads later, but I'll put the ingredients for the single recipe below. 2 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour. I actually exclusively use bread flour, so I think there's a little bit of variability here. 1 tablespoon sugar, 1 teaspoon sea salt, 1/2 teaspoon baking powder, 1/2 cup of leftover starter, 1/4 cup Greek yogurt. We just use the yogurt that we make here. 1/4 cup oil. We've got lard from our 2023 pigs still. Those were some fatty pigs. 1 to 2 tablespoons of warm water. I have found that I actually need to use significantly more water, but I'll show you the consistency so you know how much water to add. Now this is a thicker, stiffer type dough, but we don't necessarily want there to be any excess flour, nor do we want the dough to be sticky. There's a happy medium. I'm not gonna be able to mix all of it with my little dough whisk here. Actually, it's probably about time that I go in with my hands, but I still may need to add water. We'll see. Now, this isn't the type of recipe where we're really trying to build a lot of gluten. I am just trying to make sure all the flour and everything is incorporated. You can see it's not sticking to the counter, which is good. And the dough is nice and pliable. It's not super tough. I don't want to over knead it to make it super tough. So at this point, I'm just going to set it aside for an hour. Now that the dough has rested, we're going to roll it out. I have 16 separate pieces. The original recipe has only 8. And I want to roll them out to about 8-inch rounds while I heat the pans up to a medium-low, more like a low than a medium. You'll see me buttering one side of the flatbread. This is part of the recipe, and I didn't include that in the ingredients, but you do want a little butter. I'll pan fry them for 2 minutes on each side until they're bubbly and toasted. Doing. So here's Tortellini back out in the barn. I'll bring you in a little bit closer so you can see his shoulder. I actually had a subscriber that suggested that maybe he got that hot spot from laying against his water bowl. He had a different water bowl than this one in his other cage. It's one of those rubber bowls, and I kind of wonder if you're right, because we did have another heat wave since I noticed that hot spot, and wouldn't you know, he was laying against his water bowl in that exact spot. And so I think that that maybe is what happened, but he is healing now. I'm going to turn to the side. He's actually got hair growing in that spot. See that there? It's not pink and raw anymore. That's new fur growing back in there. So he's on the mend. Anyway, that's what I got for you this week. Hopefully things are going well wherever you are. I'll see you guys again soon.